Hi, I'm Carson Block of Zer0es TV, and welcome to another edition of Zero Fucks Given. Now, normally I do the intro, but I was just on the road last week with Freddy, and Freddy was bitching that I do all the talking, and I think you were bitching some more today that I do all the talking. So it's your turn. You do the intro. You run shit, man.
Cool. Been waiting for this moment. I better not fuck it up.
I've been waiting like 8 years, right, to actually talk more than I do.
True. So, we were out last week. We spoke at a class at UPenn, which was really cool. We discussed topics as broad as what the actual definition of fuck you money is. And then
That's true. That was important when, like somebody raised their hand, like, oh, well, what is fuck you money? And like, $1 billion or so. And
yeah,
that kid was dazzled by that. It's not much lower. And
yeah,
welcome.
and we had to break it to him that there aren't short sellers that are worth $1 billion.
Well, there's one.
There's one.
There won't be another.
Fair. But that wasn't the only thing that was nice about being out on the road. I didn't manage to find any new romance in my life, but Carson, you struck up what was genuinely like the sweetest romance I've ever seen. We sat there meeting, potential investor who runs a family office, and
so he's obviously smart money because he's talking to us.
Exactly.
Very smart money.
And usually like I have to do some of the small talk, but you just like went straight into the COVID comparison notes. I mean, it was like fluttering eyelids over HEPA filters and CO2 readers and air throughput and all kinds of stuff. It was truly cute.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you think that you usually do the small talk, but that's just me letting you feel important because, again, like you're always whining, I feel so left out. I only got to speak 49% of the time.
True. So other than me liking the sound of my own voice, it was nice being out, actually. Like, I think like Zoom has led the whole world to this like kind of like strange interaction, and we're so used to seeing like 8 different cubes, and mainly like 6 of those people won't get to talk. So it was actually like nice being out on the road in a room with people, like getting to engage, having a meeting run like half an hour longer than the prescribed amount of time. And it kind of got me wondering, like,
because of my small talk.
Monologues. But it kind of got me wondering, like, most of the people we met, I think, were in the office like 2 to 3 days a week. And, I felt like we've lost a lot by not being in the office. And I'm kind of hoping we actually get like back into the office and people start doing business travel again. And like, feels like that's a positive step for humanity.
Yeah, I can't endorse the travel aspect. I mean, traveling, my recollection of it pre-COVID is that I felt that it sucked, and I feel like it sucks more now, a little bit post-COVID. I mean, the mask thing where it's just uncomfortable after a few hours on a plane. And I was supposed to go to Vietnam in a couple of weeks and punted that by a month. But I mean, shit, like having to have one of those things on my face for, like 17 hours, it's going to feel like I've got my face in a dirty diaper after all that time.
Which I think you can do in Japan at the right clubs.
Yeah. You can do it at the right clubs anywhere you live.
Fair point.
But yeah, so putting aside the travel thing, definitely returning to the office. I think it's so key. It's so key for culture. And it bewilders me when I read these articles about recent college grads or younger Gen Zers who don't want to return to the office, and they're making this a real sticking point. Just, hey, how the fuck do you think you're going to get mentorship? Like, do you have any ambition to advance at all? And here's the thing, having been through, I'm almost 46. You're almost like, what, 23 or something?
Yeah, I will keep my age a secret for now.
Yeah. So having been through the dot-com burst and having watched the first wave of tech outsourcing during the early 2000s, all of these jobs in tech can become commoditized. They do become commoditized unless you move up the value chain. And when you have people who are basically saying like, well, I'm not going to go in the office. I'm just going to sit at home and code, and I'm going to have this job forever. My reaction is, no, you're not. Like some dude in India is going to do it for a fraction of the price you do when the technology adapts a little bit and it becomes more ubiquitous. So you need to be in the office, you need to be inculcated with the company culture, and that's good for the company. Politically, you need that if you want to advance, and you want to advance because, especially in tech, man, those skills, those do not age like wine, not at all.
Speaking of company culture, I actually think we forgot to make an introduction this week to our sponsor, Smash and Grab Beer.
Smash and Grab Beer by Legal Draft. Now, it's a fake sponsor, right? They don't actually sponsor us.
Yeah, they're not paying for the privilege. So if there are any premium brands out there that would like to sponsor a very large and ever-growing audience, I mean, if another person watched it this week, we might have increased our viewership by 20% episode on episode, which is really impressive.
Yeah, that's a great growth metric. Well, I think it's worth mentioning that Legal Draft they ceased doing business.
They did cease doing business. We actually wrote to them this week to try and get some like formal sponsorship, and so on the website finally got through to someone, and he was like, actually the brewery closed down. So we are in the market for the trademark.
Yeah, we bid them on the trademark, but they're saying that they're not going to sell the trademark or any of the other assets separately from the entire brewery, which, guys, like, honestly, I don't think somebody's going to walk away from buying the brewery because you parted ways with this fucking smash and grab trademark. But thanks to one of our loyal viewers, Chris Taye, pointed this out to me, there's a company, at least one company, that makes white label beer, so microbrews, etc. And so once we do get this trademark, or not, sue us. Like I'm a professional fucking lawsuit defendant, so like, believe me, I'm not worried. We can have smash and grab beers. We should redesign the logo and what have you. We can have those made by those guys. But even better, I think this opens up a range of new brands that we can bring to market. And our loyal viewers of 5, let's give them a shout out. So we mentioned Chris Taye.
We know Mike Blanick watches this to the end.
Yeah.
There's Anthony Jew, our GC.
Yeah, our GC, Anthony Jew.
Yeah.
We didn't say he's a Jew lawyer. His last name really is Jew, spelled Jew.
Yes.
So this is not a pejorative.
But as a member of the tribe, I do like referring to him as the Jew lawyer.
Right. To be clear, you are Jewish, so I'm half. So does that allow me to say the same thing?
Mother's side, father's side.
It's father's side, but
no such thing as half. Anyways, and you're probably still sitting there thinking...
That's only 3 of our loyal viewers, but...
Well, we
love you all.
We love you all.
2 of you, but here's the thing. We've dropped, 2 episodes so far?
Yes.
And evidently this whole plugging smash and grab beer was not enough to save Legal Draft. So while we love you, we're also a little disappointed that you guys didn't go and hoover it up in large enough quantities to keep these guys from going out of business. But
correct.
If you start a large pressure campaign to encourage them to sell the trademark to us for reasonable price, I bid them $5,000. I mean,
whatever. I actually emailed him saying too I was going to keep the other 3, but whatever.
I mean, you've been in Asia,
exactly.
How it works. But anyway, new brands. So when we work with the white label guys, so I want to do that. We'll have Chris to do that.
Yeah, we'll have Chris to do that.
Being the assistant PA here, we now know doesn't take any time really. So Krista will have time to arrange the beer white label deal. Yeah. And the other one, the next label I want to launch is, tell me which one is better. Fail and Set Sail Pale Ale, or just Fail and Set Sail Ale?
You know what, fuck it. Let's do both, and one can be the light beer.
Okay.
All right.
Well, no, because it's like the pre-lap band surgery kind of thing, right?
True.
So there shouldn't be a light version of Fail and Set Sail.
You know what? Fail and Set Sail Pale Ale is. Yeah. I like that a lot.
It's a good tongue twister. All right. So Fail and Set Sail Pale Ale. We're launching that. The 6 of you listening or watching, please don't fucking go and trademark that ahead of us, man. That'd just be betrayal.
I know what a lot of people thinking. They're thinking this is one of these things that you just sit here and you say and do. But actually, we are pretty prolific business idea generators.
Yeah, we've had great business ideas going well back to our days in San Francisco, in what one of the finance people who came in those days to our office not so affectionately referred to as the opium den.
Mm.
Actually, I can't, did he call it crack den or opium den?
I think cracked it. And you know what was really funny? When I then later referred to the crack den and in our second, like slightly nicer office, someone
It
was
was a
like,
lot nicer.
it was a lot nicer, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, I visited the crack den." I'm like, "No, that was actually our nice office. Like the crack den was the earlier office." So, anyways, but yeah, we've had numerous great business ideas over the years. I mean, you early on realized how broken the ratings agency system was. Okay, so it's probably not widely understood, but what companies do is they shop for ratings. And so,
I think that's understood.
really? You think people know the ratings agencies are just like whoring out those ratings? Come on, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's big surprise. Well, things are very different post GFC, I'm
Totally
sure.
different. They're not like they're still public companies with shareholders or anything. Oh, wait. Um, But what's kind of interesting is if you don't like the rating they're going to give you, you basically don't have to like go ahead and get the rating. So what you came up with was kind of something akin to that for shitty companies.
Well, so there was the version of this business that is completely unethical and fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
but would be investigation proof, ironically. And that is for us to provide consulting services to companies and say, hey, we would like to advise you on some of the issues that might exist with respect to your financial statements and presentation of them. And obviously, as clients, then we would have a conflict that would prohibit us from ever taking a position in your company and trading on it or
Mm-hmm.
publishing on it because there'd be a confi agreement. So that was sort of like the sick, cynical joke that we could probably make a lot more money that way,
Yes.
much more easily. And yeah, from this point in time, we can look back and say that honestly would have been investigation proof
And a way better business.
and a way better business. But of course, we didn't do that. So there are obvious reasons why. But we did start to wonder, especially at the time that Kroll announced it was going to
Mm-hmm.
start doing bond ratings, and we're thinking like, the fuck do those guys know? Besides everything that they pulled out of my trash can over the years when clients had hired them to go through it. I kid. I don't know for a fact that Kroll was ever hired to investigate me, but other firms certainly were. But we thought about this and we thought, okay, especially with Chinese companies, can we do some sort of muddy waters rating?
Mm-hmm.
And, like my view, which I think you share,
Mm-hmm.
is that pretty much every company in China that's using other people's money is to some extent committing fraud. Now, that might sound harsh, but when you're in an environment where your competitors for capital are committing fraud, then you're kind of forced to also. So if I'm going to pretend that these people are pure of heart, that's what I would call upon to justify what I just said. But so against that backdrop, what could we do? It was the question, what could we do as a ratings type firm? And the only thing we could come up with is reality ratings. Like, oh, we think these guys are 80% real. So, it's like, it's not a buy. We're just, putting a numerical value on how real we
Right.
think they are.
Yeah, and then like that gives people a guideline way of like haircutting either the profit number or increasing the debt number or haircutting the cash number. And so like that would give people a much more standardized way of getting to like the actual numbers in these things.
Yeah. So the first issue with this is it doesn't really seem like it's a great service if you're going to say that everything's at least a little bit fraudulent.
Right.
And if you looked at it from the perspective of, well, rational people wouldn't want to buy something that's fraudulent at all, you'd think that it doesn't have much demand. But the reality of the world is that rational people want to buy the fraudulent stuff. So again, it doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like if we were gonna upgrade them from like totally bullshit to like getting a bit more real. Like I like the idea of that as well. Um, but anyway, if I'm honest, that wasn't even like one of the top few ideas we ever had. For me, it was the health check app, right? So I'll set the scene. There was someone who had uploaded to the iPhone store this app where he was like, yeah, if you download the app, it makes your phone waterproof. And so, like, what a few unsuspecting people did was they downloaded the app, thought that iPhone was going to be waterproof, and then, like, dropped it in a glass of water, and lo and behold, it actually didn't make the iPhone waterproof.
Well, it made these, like, clicking noises when you activated to make it sound like things in there were moving, apparently, like...
Right. So we had the idea, like, okay, what else could you get people to do to their iPhones?
Right. So yeah, that's one thing I love about the world is there's a seemingly limitless supply of complete fucking morons.
Yeah.
Right. And so I thought, as an interesting kind of social experiment, that we should do this app, or create this app that's called the Health Check app. And basically it's supposed to save you expensive, annoying trips to the doctor. And the way you use it, you open it up, place the phone somewhere underneath you, and you take a shit on the phone. And the idea would be that it's supposed to analyze your shit. But of course, that's impossible, just like it was impossible for an app to make your phone waterproof. And the payoff would have been, so we knew we couldn't get away with uploading that to the Apple Store, right? Because they, those antitrust fuckers police things. But they probably could have uploaded it to app stores for Android.
Right.
And I was tempted, just because, on bad days, it would have enabled me to go to bed at night and just with like a little smile on my face, just assuming that someone somewhere today took a shit on their iPhone for absolutely no good reason. So that was my grand ambition in the app world.
Yeah.
I'm not really the most technically savvy guy, so I haven't gone far beyond that myself.
And look, along that theme, for me, the idea that got me most excited was Pooba. Okay, so when I was thinking about like a room in your house where like dollars spent versus time spent, probably like not a great ratio, I think of like toilets, especially that like spare toilet downstairs that like is mostly for the guests. So,
but you don't email or check email from the toilet. I mean, that's what it's best for.
Fair point.
Wait till you have kids. Sometimes it's just like it's like the sanctuary.
So like, I've noticed there are some people, they really don't want to use like public bathrooms. So like the initial thing 1.0 was like, okay, you'll have poopers.
What do you mean some people?
A lot of people.
Yeah, come on, man. That's also a rational response.
True. And there's actually, I've learned this thing called like an inner sphincter and an outer sphincter that like for people who mentally don't want to go, it like, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's scientific.
It's apparently a real thing. I mean, I read like 3 articles on it. Anyway.
Well, you're obviously preparing to launch this.
Yes. Oh, that's a good pun, Matt. So anyway, there were kind of like 2 versions of this. Like Pooba 1.0 was like, it was going to be a regular Uber, and then you were just going to like turn up at the door of someone's house and be like, yeah, I'm here for the Pooba. So I just love the idea of that social interaction, and then like people go and like, rate that person's Pooba.
Just don't have like no hot women like answering the door, like, oh, really?
You're like, oh, no, must be a wrong door, sorry.
Oh, that's not why I'm here.
Gotta go. But then like the 2.0 is like the really low-rated Uber drivers. So if you're getting below like a 3.0, you don't drop off the app, you just become a Pooba, right? So people come in, they retrofit your car, and you've got to drive around with people just crapping in the back of your car.
No. But I thought when we got like serious about pitching Softbank on this,
right?
That the idea was there'd be some sort of trailer towed behind the car,
right?
Not just like a normal porta shitter, but like something luxurious. It's like one of those 5-star hotel bathrooms with the wood paneling,
right,
in the back. And in between, the driver, 2 stars or fewer, would have to come in, like sanitize it and clean it. But yeah, just a better way of doing it, especially if you had to get from A to B, right?
So look, Masa, if you're watching, we're still in the market. The TAM's huge. We've thought about several iterations of this, and we're ready for an infusion of anywhere between like, I don't know, how much did they lose on that North Star stuff? So $7 billion. So anywhere between 1 and 7 billion, we think we could start scaling this.
Yeah, if you think about like Zoom Pizza, right?
Right.
I think Softbank put like 400 million in or something. Or that was maybe the total deal size. They'd buy a lot of luxury toilet trailers.
I mean, look, if you
It's
want to
scalable, man. It's fucking scalable.
if you want to increase throughput, like after you've come off your pooba, you get a fresh Zoom pizza at the back, just to replenish. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, no, it has legs. Obviously, with pitching SoftBank, they wouldn't take something like this seriously unless you explained that this was going to help solve one of civilization's great problems. Which I don't know, like what would you say? Oh, all turds are recycled and made into compostable, whatever.
I mean, look, really, if you are watching Master-san, I have channeled my inner Adam Newman. I'm not wearing shoes today. I've got long hair. Give us your fucking money.
There you go.
All right.
Well, okay, so speaking of people who really are saving humanity from itself, Elon Musk, if we have to turn to the markets here. So Elon went long Twitter. He became a 9% shareholder.
Non-activist shareholder.
Well, also delaying his filing I think he went well past the filing date before he actually did file, and that enabled him to amass even more shares. And yeah, and so day one, non-activist filing, long 9.2% of Twitter stock. Day two, the non-activist is on the board of Twitter. Day three, we miscounted. It's actually 9.1% of Twitter stock, which, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, math is hard, right? It's not as though you launch rockets into space and shit like that and have that much precision in math. Or clearly those people weren't working on your filing. Not sure anybody's working on the filing. But yeah, this is interesting. I mean, here's Elon again, like taking that, I'm going to give it to him, right? Like taking that 30-foot cock of his and just slapping the SEC in the face again with it. And
yeah, I mean, like I guess like part of me is just like, is this just like he couldn't be bothered to tweet out like, what SEC stands for again? Or is he gonna like turn up knowing that he's probably gonna get like some pretty sizable fine? Is he just gonna like turn up and flood the car park with like $50 million worth of nickels just to be like, yeah, guys, here's a down payment.
The SEC's parking lot.
Yes. Like, I really do not give a fuck. Yeah, maybe we should rename this thing Elon's instead of Zer0 fucks given. Because, I mean...
they're synonymous, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Elon and Zer0 fucks given, synonymous. Shit, we should trademark that.
Oh, dude. We should turn it into we should call the brewery, which we're going to buy, Elon's.
So... Well, when we do the white label Elon beer, empty cans, and just like with the message on the bottom, what the fuck are you going to do about it?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because I don't know what his relationship is or isn't with Jack Dorsey. I kind of assume all the billionaire guys in Silicon Valley are kind of pally with each other. Here he is on one hand suing critics. Now he's a champion for free speech.
So convenient when that happens.
Yes. And look, truth be told, I mean, part of the reason Zeros always existed was, the censorship issue of like one day, what if Elon Musk decides like he doesn't like you, or a news channel that you're on decides like, we don't want to feature short activism anymore, and it's kind of becoming more real.
No, this is a very serious point. So there we were, I think in 2019, going around and meeting with existing clients. And I explained to them that I wanted to launch this type of thing. We didn't have a name for it yet. We didn't know it was going to be called Zer0s, but there I was explaining that we wanted to launch an online media platform and be able to communicate directly with people. I said, because the traditional media platforms, are getting, they're getting kind of skeeved out by all the threats by companies. The moment you say something like not entirely flattering about the CEO, it's like, here's a letter from our lawyers threatening to sue you, and insurance rates climb. Number one. Number two, also from their perspective, like by 2019, people just generally don't want to hear bad fucking news or negative news about companies. So the traditional media outlets were becoming, obviously, the trend is to become more averse to short related content, number one. And then social media, it really freaked me out. I think it was in March of 2019 when Tesla Charts tweeted out a spreadsheet. It was like a Google spreadsheet that he had put together of what he tracked as the real Model S, or a more real driver death rate of the Model S than what had been reported to the NHTSA. And right after, within hours of tweeting that out, that account was suspended by Twitter. And I always just imagined that it was Elon pinging Jack and being like, hey, suspend this guy, he's a dick. And Tesla Charts got back on in a day or two after there was an uproar. And again, like people saying, what transgression did he commit here? But that also told me, like, yeah, Twitter is something that is also potentially going to be inaccessible to people who want to disseminate contrarian content that's critical of public companies. So now you see free speech advocate Elon Musk on the board of Twitter, and I think that this is really, this is showing that this was actually very prescient to create this this channel, Zer0s.
You know what else would be prescient? For Jack Dorsey to eat something. I don't know what that dude is doing with this. Like, firstly,
how about showering? He looks unshowered. I haven't been in person with him. He
does look unshowered. I genuinely could not believe how much of a vagrant, emaciated state he got himself into. I don't know if he like modeled himself on Howard Hughes and was like, hey, this is like really the way to go.
Did Howard Hughes ever grow that fucking beard?
He didn't grow the beard. I think he didn't cut his fingernails, if I remember correct. But yeah, I look at that dude and I'm like, P.S. Shane Warne allegedly put himself at real risk by doing that, intermittent fasting water diet. It had nothing to do with, I'm sure, what was probably...
Okay, so again, like you're speaking to a cricketing audience. We talked about it like the entire episode.
It was, for the 5 of you watching, it was on the first episode, all right?
Yeah, right. It was the first episode, but basically a guy who could get laid in Anglo countries because he was a cricketer. In America, it's kind of like, what?
I guess Liz Hurley's not American. He could definitely get laid in America too.
Huh? Sorry, what?
Liz Hurley was not American, right?
She's British.
Yeah. Okay. He did bang Liz Hurley. That's pretty cool.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, she's British. Like,
okay.
America.
True.
So there's that thing with Robbie Williams, right? Which when I moved to China the second time, 2005 to 2010, we were friends with a bunch of Aussies, Kiwis, and Brits, and we go to bars that like an Aussie-owned bar, and they'd have this fucking Robbie Williams in front of Ayers Rock, just like over 100,000 people in the audience. And my wife and I are like, who the fuck is this guy? Who's rocking this crowd? I don't recognize him. And then everybody returned to us, and it's Robbie Williams. You don't know who Robbie Williams is? I'm thinking, that's the lamest name.
Robbie
Williams. How do you get to rock a fucking crowd with that name?
Robbie Williams, child prodigy, was in Take That. Probably.
Let's Take That.
Jesus Christ!
What the fuck is that?
You are so fucking uncultured. It's unbelievable. Your knowledge of like 90s boy bands in the UK is fucking... You probably didn't even know that David Hasselhoff single-handedly brought down communism by singing on the wall, did you? No. Very popular in Germany, David Hasselhoff.
But like, listen, whatever, but I was attracted to the Spice Girls.
Fair point.
Each and every one of them.
Even Sporty?
I can't remember. Whatever.
Trust me, I'll show you a picture.
It would have been worth it.
No one was attracted to
Sporty Spice. Well, there was like Scary Spice, right? But
Scary was hot.
She was hot.
Sporty, not so much.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay.
But yeah, Robbie Williams is like the single greatest thing I think probably that we have given to the world. And Americans don't even know about it. I read
So is he
this.
British or is he Australian?
So he's British. I think he's originally born in like Stoke-on-Trent, which is important for me as a Londoner to just delineate that.
So what's up with the 3-word names of towns? I don't understand that.
You know, I think on Trent, I think a Trent is a river, if I'm correct, or some sort of body on water. So it's like the town on the Trent.
So when Elon buys England, he could name a place like Sucks Elon's Cock, right?
Yes.
Okay, it wouldn't be that unusual.
Exactly.
For Elon or for
or for us.
English.
Yeah. I mean, the Russians basically did it. So yeah. So anyway, Robbie Williams, back to him not being like prominent amongst Americans. I read the story, like similar thing about him, like being in LA when he was in his like mid-20s. He takes this girl out for dinner. He turns up in like a nice car, and kind of halfway through, like he's like, "Yeah, why don't we go back to mine?" She's like, "Great." And so
I did this also.
Yeah.
Like, but it was my grandparents' Lexus coupe in their house, and they were out of town. So,
okay.
But but the girls saw through it right away. They're like, "Nah, that's not yours."
Right. So anyway, this girl comes back to his, and she's like, "So, like, what do you really do?" He's like, "No, I'm a pop star." And she's like, "Sure you are. Like, I've basically never heard of you. Like, what are you, a businessman or something?" And he's in his like $10 million mansion. She's like, "No, I am a pop star." She's like, "Okay, well," he's like, "You really don't believe me?" She's like, "No." She's like, "You never heard of me?" No. So he sticks a DVD in of him at Nebworth with like 500,000 people. And she's like, "Oh," and he just like gets up on stage, takes the mic, and just has everyone sing Angels to him. So if you are listening,
What's Angels?
Dude, you're a fucking lost cause. Forget it.
Again, like what a horrible fucking name for a pop star. Like if he had a real name, he would have been a big pop star in America, and he would have gotten laid a lot more easily without the skepticism in America. Like he wouldn't have had to have like just brought one woman back to his place. Like
Dude, he literally has one song. I mean, he's made like hundreds of millions of dollars off just like one song.
Okay, all right. So there's something like to what I'm saying, right? Okay, so he was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but it was the greatest hit ever of all time.
Well,
I guarantee you, if
it didn't crack the American top 1,000
aeroplane going from England to anywhere and just stood up and started singing Angels, you could have the whole airplane singing.
Yeah, what's popular on airplanes isn't really a great proxy. When we resumed flying in July, right? So I flew JetBlue from San Francisco to New York. Like, shit, it's fine. Like, you be you. Whatever makes you happy, I have no problem. But of the, say, I don't know, I feel like there were 30, I think there were 30 movies approximately that I could choose from. Let's say 6 of them were trans content.
Like Dave Chappelle?
No, it's like, the parents of a young trans boy exploring his gender identity and, trans. It was like, wow, this is, I think, disproportionately large. So my point being, if you're saying there's an airplane test, like, based on that JetBlue experience, I don't know that what you have on an airplane that passes for entertainment is necessarily representative of the broader population.
Well, they got to balance it out because airplanes, by their very design, are very phallic. So they just need to balance it out.
Yeah, but I think a lot of all right, that's another topic for another time. When we're up to 10 viewers, we can.
The fallacy of airplanes. Okay.
No, I mean, we could go where I was going with that joke that formed in my mind that I couldn't help it. Like it just, but anyway, we'll do that when we're up to 10 viewers.
Cool. So, short selling this week. We didn't put anything out, but some other people did.
Yeah. Hindenburg came out with a report, and that was the same day that Spruce Point came out with a report on Stryker Medical, which was $100 billion market cap. So we don't really have any comments on either. We didn't read either report, but we're just going to show you this meme here that was posted by somebody else, no idea who, and no comments on it. And if you're listening to this instead of watching the video version, well, this is what you miss out on, this great visual entertainment here. So Pause. All right.
Resume.
Resume. Yes.
That's not the only thing that happened in hedge fund world this week. Everyone's quarterly kind of numbers got leaked or put on the internet or however that kind of works.
Well, since the numbers were bad, they were leaked.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry. No. When they're good, they're leaked. When they're bad, pissed off LPs violate their NDAs.
Yes. Look, there have been some very prominent tech investors done really well for a long time, and schmucks like us who, just like sitting around generating real returns. And all I'll say is that it's really interesting how much smarter the private investment teams are than the public ones, because a lot of those private marks aren't down quite as much as the public marks for the tech funds.
We'll give some examples. And this is based on Bloomberg reporting, so we're not yet maligning anybody here.
Yeah, so I think based on some of the stuff I saw, the D1 mark was like the private fund was only down 10%. The public fund was down like, I don't know, mid-teens or 20 or something. And look, I'm not saying there's anything...
What about 2021, though? I thought there was a very big delta in 21 performance between the publics and privates.
Yeah, I can't... I honestly can't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, you see like for all these large tech funds, the private marks are like pretty robust and look good. I mean, like some of these people were like flat to up, and then their public funds, which hold a lot of tech companies, are actually down. And I think, obviously it depends on the various like marking policies. I'm not accusing anyone of any wrongdoing, but it kind of begs to, really kind of like begs the question as to like, well, when's this all going to catch up? And like,
well, or they're invested in great companies like Puber.
Dude, this is who we got to go and talk to Puber about. Softbank, obviously, like they strayed into public markets, losing $7 billion, which I honestly don't know how they did.
Like, well, it wasn't just their money, it was the Saudi money, which is
true.
Like I really would just, all bullshit aside, want to shake Moss's hand for setting that much Saudi money on fire.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's true.
He's really playing for us.
Speaking of Massa, like I've been watching the WeWork We Crashed. It's awesome. I gotta say, Jared Leto as Adam Newman is superb. Like absolutely superb. Like he captures the essence of like bullshit and chaos and craziness. Like I was sitting there watching it and I was thinking to myself, like, this guy must have had so much fun for 7 years. Like just walking around, just like constantly being like, can I tell like more and more and more bullshit? Like, can I get crazier and crazier and crazier? And is it just gonna like, people just gonna buy into this? And like, clearly they did. And he still walked away with like billions of dollars.
It obviously helps having Moss's imprimatur on there because he's smart money.
Yeah, look, to be fair,
that was totally sarcastic.
Yeah, but to be fair, he took in like a lot of other like actually sharp money who were probably figuring like, look, this guy's an awesome salesman. Like at the end of the day, if you're in here and this guy's really good at selling stuff to other people, you can probably get out somewhere between here and here. Like, I don't know, man. Like it's pretty sharp, and he probably worked out that was the game everyone else was playing. So he's like, well, if that's the game they're playing, I may as well be the biggest player on the board doing this. And he got to smoke weed in a private jet, which I certainly haven't.
Okay.
No comment on that?
It's a little awkward when you're chartering.
Fair. So yeah, so I think that wraps up the week. We've had private marks, memes, our business ideas, and
only some of our business ideas. We still haven't gotten to the pimp my ride for dictators.
Oh, dude. Should we save that for next week, or should we tell people about that?
Well, we'll save it for next time, but I'm just going to preview. Instead of normal buttons on the consoles made out of plastic, teeth of dissidents. That's fucking money.
That's where the money's at. Well, anyway, can I lead us out?
Yeah, do the outro, man. You talk so fucking much, so go for it.
Everyone, thank you for watching. This has been Zero Fucks Given, and smash and grab.
And coming soon, fail and set sail, pale ale.